How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Good. I think we should make mention of Happy Hanukkah. If anybody in our world is celebrates Hanukkah, I know we're right in the middle of, as my good friend calls it, 8 crazy nights. So Happy Hanukkah, and I know everybody's getting ready for Christmas and celebrates Christmas. I do as well, and it's just a magical time of year, right?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Awesome. I'm buying time to make sure we're live. Let me double check real quick, gentlemen. We are excited. This is our last industry update of the year, and we'll take next week off because I can't believe 2022 is just done. Like like I don't even know what's today, the 19th. I guess some miraculous lender and agent could sell a house today and close it by the end of the year. But the reality is, if it's not in title at this point in time, it's probably not closing in 2022. So we're already working on 23.
Definitely. I've got some of their fingers crossed for 2022, but you're right. We're already in 2023.
There you go. So what's the message wrapping the year up for 2023?
Well, I mean, I think we're going into it. Obviously, we've been talking about this week after week. You know, it's the shift. You know, it's what are you willing to do that your competition isn't willing to do? What is it that you're ready to do and changing your business? What do your goals look like? Have you identified your goals? Are you ready? You know, because it's going to be a shifting market, and this is everything that we've been talking about for the last few months. The shift, and it's finally coming. And there's still a lot of unknowns about it, but the hard worker is going to get the results. The one that's willing to put in the work.
Yeah, thanks, Dustin. I agree. I think you ignore what you ignore the shift, and you just go work hard. And if the shift comes in soft, I'll say it that way, you're 10 times harder, you're 10 times more advanced than everybody else that didn't put in the hard work. So the shift should just be a reminder that we need to be proactive and working hard on our business, and not putting the foot on the gas pedal, is the way they say it, instead of letting off. And I get this time of year, like most people check out, like they take the next 2 weeks off. Yet this is probably the 2 weeks you could probably connect the best with people in your database. But anyway, this is an industry update, not an opinion based, but I'll give you the last word, Jerry.
Yeah, the last word is echoing what you said. Those who are showing up right now are closing business. They're working with buyers, they're working with sellers. Those that are really motivated, right, to buy and sell are still going to buy and sell, and that seems going to be true as we go into the new year.
Yeah. All right. I don't see us live on Facebook. Can y'all double check? Somebody else jump on the Facebook. Let me know if we're live. It's not showing up on my end, and I didn't want to start putting up numbers till we did. But you know, here's the deal. Let me check it real quick on the phone. You know, we do this whole thing. I want to make sure everybody hears. Are y'all seeing it? I'm not seeing it.
I'm seeing that it's an event, but I'm not seeing it live.
Yeah.
Not seeing it streaming.
Sometimes it takes a little delay. Well, let's start with one of the not as popular articles that I think if somebody happened to miss that, they won't be disappointed. How's that? All right. All right. Airbnb renter-friendly push creates a flywheel. So I found this article interesting because have you ever rented an Airbnb that was not an owned property, but a rented property? So what's happening is, let's say I lease a house for a year, and then I travel for the holidays, they're allowing the tenants to Airbnb the houses while they're gone for the holidays or while they're out of town, which I think strikes an interesting question with landlords, right? Like,
Yeah.
do you want your tenants allowed to Airbnb a property? I don't know why it struck me. I never hadn't thought about it. I know institutional landlords like apartment complexes and some of those have played in this game. But all of a sudden now it's kind of an interesting phenomenon. Like, and I don't even know that most landlords would even know about it.
Right.
What's your opinion, Jerry? You own investment property. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, most of the contracts default to a no subleasing. That's so if this is something that your tenants are going to play in, then they're probably going to be breaking the lease unless, like, unknowingly, maybe even, unless you've kind of communicated it. What I liked was I thought of the holidays, but I also thought of some of those professions that take people out of town a lot, right? And it's a way for them to have a place. But then even if it's not to really create good passive income, but it's a way to cover the cost of increasing rents, that's a benefit. So I liked it from that perspective.
Yeah, I mean, let's say I'm a single person and I travel quite a bit, but I still got to have a home.
Right. Need a home base, right?
You need a home base. I don't know. I found it interesting. I think it's an interesting trend. Airbnb has a disproportionate number of homes that hosts that own their homes versus rent their homes. So individuals that are renters have not had the opportunity to host their homes to keep up the rising cost of living. I don't know how I feel about it. If I was a landlord, I don't know that I would love it.
No,
But like I said, this is about trends, right? Like, we're trying to learn trends on this call. Any other comments on that?
No, I mean, it's just, it's almost like you kind of have to take yourself out of the landlord mindset, and it's like a business mindset. And if that's communicated, like that's how it's going to be ran, and just being okay with it, So, I mean, yeah, it's definitely an interesting concept to it.
Yep. All right.
From my landlord perspective, if I felt I could charge more, for my flat rental rate, it's a benefit for everyone.
100%. There you go. All right. Excuse me while I sneeze. All right. Let's jump into the numbers. Okay. So Rockwall County, we've got 95 active properties. One coming soon, of course, 22 active option, 14 canceled, and 40 pending, 44 sold. What do I make of that? I think people are taking their houses off the market for the holidays, which is a normal trend, right? And 95 is still somewhat of a decent number. My comment is always going to be, hey, if somebody's looking at your house over the holidays, they're very serious, right? Like, there's not a lot of looky-loos over the holidays. Yet we still had 44 solds. I think we're seeing the end of the year closeout. Last week was a little low, but 44 is pretty healthy if you kind of look back across the span. So I'm not overly concerned about that. I think that's more of a calendar thing, a seasonal thing. Just double checking.
I noticed that it was similar to what we saw last month, also with a major holiday in it. However, I didn't see that play out throughout all the counties. But it kind of jumped out at me that 11-14, there were 99. The other thing that jumped out to me on this one was we're still seeing active options and active contingent at a good number as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's jump over to some of the other counties. So Dallas County is always our best collected because it's the largest county. It's got 698 active, which is still considerably down from previous weeks, right?
Right.
Yet 222 active option, 366 sold. I don't know. I actually feel decent about these numbers. I was a little concerned this week that last week we went down in trending numbers, but went back up this week. So, and I expect the next 2 weeks to be a lot of closeout, but maybe not a lot of under contract, except for the people that are very serious, right?
Right.
So
Yep.
perfect. Anything else?
I mean, I think you said it, Brett. I mean, just really nothing too crazy going on, as far as with the holidays. It still seems like it's pretty consistent as far as what it's been like for the past couple of months.
Absolutely. All right. So Collin County, we got 494, which, you're on a downward trend here. You can see that. But at the end of, after Thanksgiving, it was 408. So we actually have more going into Christmas in inventory than we did at the end of Thanksgiving, which I feel good about that. 119 under contract, 202 pending, 237 sold. Outside of the beginning of December, that's a pretty good number for Collin County right now. So we'll hold on to that. I find it interesting. If you go back and look, the hold, there's 31 hold, 27 expired, and 68 canceled. So these are people giving up, right? My house didn't sell for the price I wanted. I'm just going to take it off the market before the holidays. And when are they going to relist? Come January, come February, or are they going to stay off the market? It's worthy of a mention because, the game of expireds and for sale by owners and that, I think it's going to be a decent game going forward if people are just looking for business, right?
Yeah, we had a agent in Clear this week come in, had his expired list, making calls and set an appointment right there in our small window of time.
Love it. All right. So obviously Denton County, everybody can go look. Henderson County, I like to keep an eye. 41 active option in Netris, 11 option pending, 22 pending. It's a good number. People cashing out of lake houses before the end of the year or purchasing before the end of the year, right? And 19 sold. So healthy numbers there. What do we make of the numbers?
Yeah, I think we see a little bit of seasonal that we would expect, and I think we see a little bit of a slowing market. And it still goes back to the point for the agents who are out there staying in front of people, they're getting transactions.
Perfect. Anything else?
Like I said, I mean, it's just nothing too concerning. It's just, obviously we have the holidays here and houses are still moving. We should be looking at this as a good thing. It's a lot of noise that you're still hearing in the media and things like that, but people are still buying and selling, and it's just sticking to it and continue to push through it and work, and the business is there.
And from our new agent perspective, I asked one of our newer agents, hey, how do you feel about the numbers you saw from last week, right? And her big takeaway was there's still stuff selling, right? And if we're not careful and we're, like Dustin saying, we're listening too much to the media, we think we're falling off a cliff here, right? But the reality is there's still stuff selling.
Got it. All right. Well, let's jump over to a couple other articles here. This one I love because it says, here's what you should be doing that your competition hopes that you don't. So the 7 things, and these are good talking points. They hope you don't follow up with your clients. What's that mean?
Yeah, I kind of like the way he just took the negative side of this, right?
Yeah.
Same messages, but just taking the opposite side. And
well, sometimes fear is a better motivator, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Fear.
So we know in the industry, like when you close on a property, I forget the exact stats, but it's like 80 to 90% say, oh, I absolutely would use my agent again. But it's like stupid low, like less than 20% that actually use the same agent when they sell or buy the next time. And it's simply because nobody keeps in touch with their people. They don't work the database, or they don't follow up or actually make phone calls. They just kind of let them go. And it's that feeling of having a best friend and all of a sudden never hear from them again.
Yeah, and I think
Yep.
I'm not sure what it is with us as agents is we decide to disconnect after we've had such a close relationship with someone, right? This is an intimate process, one of the biggest financial decisions. But there's some easy things you could do too, right? Just by checking in and see how it's going. Worst case, something went wrong with the house and you can recommend a vendor that kind of helps them out, right? Best case, they share with you, the memories they're making in their home.
This is one of the best strategies I'm hearing right now is unsolicited CMAs. And what does that mean? It means, so I'm going to take my top 200 people in my database and I'm going to run a CMA on their house and I'm going to mail it to them. And I'm going to say, hey, I wanted you to be aware of how much equity you're creating in your investment. I'd love to have a conversation around you and your equity. And if you would like to reposition that equity in the future, either investment wise or personal.
And I think that's
mailing it to people.
Yeah, and I think that's a great way to stay in contact. They talk about a systemized follow-up plan. And I always look at it like it's a roller coaster. If you got your ups and your downs, at some point in time within that buying process or selling process, you're hitting a high. The adrenaline's going, everyone's looking good, but as soon as that house sells or closes, then you start going down because what does the realtor do? They're off looking for the next business to kind of go back on that upward streak. But how do you keep that at an even playing field all the way across to the process and staying in contact? And with the systemized follow-up plan and those things that you can do to keep those touches there, that's definitely something to consider. So you're not losing your past clients.
And who better to give you a good referral than someone who was happy with the process?
Absolutely. Number 2 is they hope you won't optimize your Google business profile. My guess is half the call doesn't know what a Google business profile even is, which is a big aha. But the other half the call, hopefully you've optimized yours. It's a big deal. The world doesn't happen if it doesn't start on google.com. And you need to be playing that game because the internet is our life these days, and optimizing the Google business profile is a big deal. They hope you won't produce more video content. Here's my take, and I'm going to kick it to you guys. And I realize we're 3 guys on here. Women are, they think differently about pictures and videos, but here's my take. I didn't like being on video in the beginning. I thought I looked weird. And we have gone through this like self-image, self-esteem, evolution around being on video. And in the beginning, it was little produced videos. Now we're on this thing live every Monday morning. Good hair or bad hair day, doesn't matter. We are on this thing live every Monday morning. And I've gotten kind of used to it. Like it's turned out to be pretty normal. What's interesting is I specifically have in my personal business plan to go bigger with video next year because the reels and the Instagrams and the TikToks and all that stuff has the attention of everybody, right? But I get it. I'm not here to tell you you have to. I'm here to tell you your competition hopes you don't.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's very easy to critique yourself when you're on a video. Like, is that how I sound? Is that what I look like? But at the end of the day, people know you, they like you, and they trust you. They want to see content from you. I had a guy reach out to me and he just says, man, you need to post more videos. Like, I like seeing you. Those updates they're powerful. And was that enough to spark it, to where I was ready to make another video, at that exact moment? But then again, you got those insecurities that come in and saying like, or I don't have time for it. But at the end of the day, like, yeah, people want to see that. And really it's about the audience that you're reaching that you don't know too, and getting those people to share, because that's what's going to draw more people to your page.
Yeah.
I think this first Sorry, Brett, go ahead.
You first, Jerry.
I think the first, the big number that jumped out at me in this article is the one right there at the bottom of the screen. 403% more inquiries are driven from listings with video. 403%. It's about getting in front of people who are looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. And those are the people looking at this video. And if you need
Yeah.
do you need anything else, right? Do you want a 4 times advantage?
Yep.
Here's how to go get it.
There you go. And here's the thing, it's technology, right? I'm getting a message from Steven, our behind the scenes guy. He's telling me it didn't go live today for some reason. He doesn't know why. So we're going to produce it, record it, and put it out as quick as possible. But we're still doing it, right? Like you just do it, right?
Yeah, and that's the other point is you're able to repurpose. Like you might do one piece, but then you can repurpose that for other marketing strategies or other uses.
100%. They hope you won't show your past clients appreciation. I think that kind of goes with staying in touch, right? Like, the law of reciprocity, of course, is in this. Being grateful, having gratitude, appreciation. It's a big deal. Number 5, they hope you don't host open houses. I've said this before. I didn't like open houses when I was a new agent because they were typically done on Saturdays and Sundays when football was on, and I always wanted to watch football. And my team leader at the time, and I was really young, said, okay, I'll give you a pass, yet what are you going to double down on instead? And I had to go door knock and I had to go do all these other things in lieu of. But over my history in 23 years in this industry, I was not very intelligent because this is probably one of the best strategies of putting yourself face to face with people looking to buy, sell real estate at low cost. And I absolutely would be doing this if I was going forward.
I paused just a little bit to see if Dustin wanted to jump in, but I love one of the things I like about the open houses. And first of all, I'm not going to push anyone who says, hey, open houses just aren't for me. It doesn't fit my life right now. That's fine. And I agree with what Brett said. What else are you going to do? But what's great about open houses is it takes those things that we may not really want to do, and it makes it a little easier. Door knocking is one of them, right? If you're doing a good 7th level open house, you're knocking on 100 doors during a shift, right? And it's an easy knock, right? It's an easy knock because it's an invite. For those people who don't like door knocking, an open house door knock is kind of easy, right? And it also amplifies your other things. So if you're not going to do one of the top 3 things that what else are you going to do? The other last thing I'd say on this is it depends on where you're at in the business, right? You're either growing your database or you're working your database or both, right? And so if you don't have at least 200, 1,000 people in your database, what are you doing to grow it? Open house is a great way to grow.
100%. All right. They hope you don't geographically farm an area or neighborhood. I've coached on this forever, and it doesn't have to be geographic farm. But if you have an intention of being an agent that survives longevity of this industry, you have to figure out how to be a listing agent. And in order to be a listing agent, you've got to put a flag in the ground somewhere, somehow. So the easiest way to do that is a geographic farm. But it could be a religious group. It could be an alumni group. It could be a school group, which is similar to a geographic farm. You have to put a flag in the ground somewhere to have some commonality with a group of people to really become a listing agent long term. So I guess the competition really hopes that you don't do that.
Yeah, I mean it's easy to see an area that's being farmed and think that it's going to be hard to get into that neighborhood, and you have to eliminate those limiting beliefs, and you just got to put in the work and start somewhere. Start small. Don't necessarily think that you have to hit the entire neighborhood. Hit a few blocks, at first, and gauge the response, gauge the interaction.
Yep.
and really concentrate on the follow-up with that. Just sending out a postcard, you're probably not going to get anything. You're probably going to get discouraged by it, but what's the follow-up look like? How are you actually seeking contact with those individuals in the neighborhoods that you're looking to farm?
There you go.
And I think we overestimate what it takes to kind of become the expert in the area. I mean, this time last year, I had 2 signs in a relatively similar neighborhood, and I had calls tell me, well, I could tell you're the expert in this neighborhood. 2 signs, and I'm the expert. Of course, my answer was, of course I am.
Yes,
right?
I am.
So, I had a great discussion with Rod Holland about this very thing. It's a lot of times it's the perception, right? It's not necessarily that you actually have the market share, but a perception of market share is even more powerful to build your business.
Yep. Last one is they hope you don't get a coach or join a mastermind. The power of a coach or the power of a mastermind has a lot to do with helping people project themselves into the future, has a lot to do with growth, and has a lot to do with exponential growth. Being around people that are thriving and wanting to thrive by osmosis alone helps you get there. But masterminding is really about figuring out the problem. We could just take a simple thing like overcoming buyer reluctance right now. And a conversation in a mastermind could be extremely powerful. I could pick up a script. A coach could give me a script, help me overcome that. Those 2 things alone are so empowering to people, because otherwise you're in your own little island, your own little blinders on, and you're not really engaged into being better. You're not really engaged into figuring out how to improve. So that's really what number 7 is all about. Got it. All right. I want to pull one thing up before we run out of time here. This NAR forecast 4.78 existing home sales, stable prices in 2023. Couple things in this article. Stable prices is really key. So you should have a copy of this. And every time somebody says, oh, I'm worried prices are going to go backwards, say, boom. Here's maybe in some parts of the country, but not Dallas-Fort Worth, right? And use data. Otherwise, it's your opinion. Use data and quote your sources. The other thing about this is, if you look at those markets, Atlanta, Raleigh, Dallas, Northwest Arkansas, South Carolina, they're heavy new construction areas. And I think new construction is going to be a big part of creating stabilization next year. But it also, builders they study their markets, and they know when things are going to be good, and they know when things are going to be bad, and they react very quickly. So ultimately, I agree 100% with this. I think we're sitting in an incredible real estate market that's going to be really stable in 2023. And we're going to get our unfair share compared to the rest of the country because of where we live. So yeah. I'll leave that there. Everybody can talk through that. But here's overarching. This is our last industry update of the year. And I know, Jim, we should have made mention in the beginning. We'll